Oh, we're sick. We're so... We're in danger. Help me. Hi. Had to re-record with this stuff going on. See the full stream because it's still in there. I had a couple of calls and stuff. And I didn't want that in the main edit because I try and keep people out of it. Anyway. So the group split. Woo! I'm gonna save this even worse than the first time. I'm gonna keep it somewhat in the main edit. I'm gonna cut out the other person. So if you want to see it, it is in the main edit anyway. So season 4 of the main one. I realized I actually do have season 1 to 3 as reviewed, which I like. It's so fun. I haven't reviewed season 4 because I didn't know there was season 4. So I haven't watched season 4. Probably relevant. So I probably should put it in there. There's probably going to be some workaround. And most likely I'll be watching all of season 1 to catch myself up. I'm not going to re-review it. My review's already out. And most likely it won't change. But anyway. I like how you have the group split up and go into 2 separate groups. Definitely with how things slowly develop. With the magic, the powers, and all of that stuff. Let's get into that. Now. So, the one thing I like is you have one group, which is... I'm just going to get the names, so I get the names. Castlevania Netflix. Oh, that one. Where is she? Why am I bad at names I don't know? Where is it? You have this character. Ta-da! And this character, yes, I am bad with names, I'm sorry, tries to find the connection with her ancestry and these gods that is used to connect, because there are 3 fragments of the soul of the god that exists, and it's all about collecting them. And I like the idea that she uses her own body as that, and it literally burns her. I don't think burns her, but like it overheats her body, because it's sort of like the god is like has this sort of like fiery element, and like it's like there's like heat and fire inside of her, which sounds terrifying. Being like, you have fire in you, I'm like, what? Excuse me? Am I going to die? But I do think it is intense. Definitely when they have the big battle against this terrifying creature, which I love both the designs of the vampires, this vampire goddess, and then the character and the goddess combined, and they have this sort of like really cool designs. I also like the sort of like space of it. They have this communication, and the space I think looks cool, definitely with the scales in the background to represent like balance, because the whole thing's about like balance, and I like that. I feel like in a lot of religions, I don't know, like, because I feel like the gods are based off something. I don't know, I am not smart in that area, but there's a lot of like religious iconography, sorry, I'm dyslexic, iconography, that's sort of based on like balance and like putting the scales in the right place. So I just like it. So yeah, this is going to be shorter than the first one, but this is just really good. Actually, it might not be, I don't know. This I think wraps up really well. I feel like there might be more, because I thought season 3 was a good random to Castlevania, but here we are, there's season 4. I also like the idea that where you have a moment where the daughter of the priest who was about to be sacrificed at the mother sacrifice in season 1, she sort of like does these things and actually kills the priest, which I know is meant to be a moment of like, this is probably bad because we're summoning things that we do not know, and like it's meant to learn the magic and understand it a bit more. But I would also like to point out him. I would also like to point out I hate him. It's like, yeah, this is probably not good, but I also understand why we're just gonna summon whatever to kill him. I would also like to point out she nearly dies. So it is fair to say that like that moment, like, yeah, that probably wasn't the best thing to actually summon, because like you could have died, and that was kind of dark. And it kind of seemed like he was trying. I'm not going to say perfectly. I legitimately think he wasn't going to redeem himself. But he was, like, trying to, like, prove why he had to do it, which, at that point, beep you. But it is kind of one of those moments where it's, like, you kind of get it when it starts off and it's, like, he dies. And then when it's, like, oh, it's attacking me. This is actually a bad idea. You can kind of tell. But it's kind of a thing with, like, those sort of feelings. Because if you're a vampire, you're kind of, like, different to human. And it's kind of effed up in that way. But I get it. I really do get it. It is really interesting in that regards. And I also like the idea that she sort of learns more about her magic and learns to control it more. And that's what I think is really good. That growing, that understanding of what this is, I think is useful. And I love it. So I do think overall it is good, it is entertaining in that way. Definitely like learning about like these sort of powers. And I like at the end of the day, which is weird because this happens in a couple of weeks. Besides the point, I really get really weird. I'm like, yeah, this takes place in a couple of weeks. Besides, at the end of this, she comes back. And I'm like, it's really interesting. Like, it's fair to say, I also like the moment where like it's about being together. It doesn't matter in what capacity, it's about being together. And she almost like, it's like, do you know what, turn me into a vampire, beat her. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I know it's bad, me being a vampire, it's not really the great position I need to be in. It's not really good, and I'm not going to put that to you, so I'm going to go. And I love it. I love it's like, no, I need to leave. Because I like, vampires, for the most part, are aristocrats in, like, this, in these two seasons. There's a lot of aristocrats higher up. The traditional things why you would see vampires as vampires, they're aristocrats, they're rich, they're powerful. But you can also see it as, like, I like it that there's like two people who question like aristocrat, which is one person being like, no, I can't, because it's like tempting to like being with your child, even if it has to have long and you're trying not human, but that's not a good idea. And I like the idea that like one of the like gods is like, I'm going to hell, and it's like, well, the devil can be tricked, and it's like he does it because he's in love with him. And I like the idea that he basically turns him into a vampire. And I like how it's done. He bites, you don't see anything. And when you see him next, red eyes. Which vampires have red eyes. And I just love that small hint of like, you just see the shadow of like teeth, and then you just hear like a biting sound. And the next scene, red. I was like, okay, we can take a guess where that went. We can take a guess what happened there. But yeah, I do think that this is really good as a series. It really builds it up. Again, I haven't watched season 4. Maybe there's some things in season 4 that probably I should watch. And maybe I might. Sorry, I skipped season 4. I just watched up to season 3. Oops-a-daisy. But yeah. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked this video. And good night. Yeah, this is it.